listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 23 Personnel Podcast. This is your instant reaction to Texas Tech losing 75-72 to Cincinnati. I'm your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Hey, I just want to address the headlines that we just kind of give for each other that we chuckle. So mine tonight, underneath my screen, says Skylined, which I felt pretty good about that. So I felt like we were Skylined today. But yours is a little bit more controversial.
It's not even. Okay. It was facetious. But
well,
mine
Spencer's...
says fire everyone. Fire them all. It's like losing to Kansas in football.
Someone grab that drop. Grab that drop. Spencer just said fire everyone on February 3rd. Fire them all into the sun. Is that what you did?
The sun.
Were you? Ooh, man, that's really tough.
No,
tough loss, man.
It was a tough loss, and that's what it was. It's frustrating. You shouldn't have lost that game. The game plan from Cincinnati worked out. They knew they had a distinct size advantage, and they took it to the woodshed, man. He just he didn't let anything down lower in the middle. I don't know what it is. Warren Washington and I'm going to forget his name, Bondego. If not the same size, essentially the same size. Bondego made Warren Washington look like he was playing like 6'8", 6'7", like he was tiny. Because Bondego was he directed everything that happened in the paint tonight when he was on the court. He was credited with only 2 blocks, but I swear that dude affected 18 shots in the second half.
Well, and had a nice little double-double himself with 10 points and 10 rebounds.
Could have had a triple-double if they had counted all the blocks correctly. He played 27 minutes, but like you knew every minute he was on the floor. So I've got like 2 moments in my head that I want to get to real quick that felt very consequential, or they played a big role in tonight's game, especially late because these are both in the second half. There was a sequence when Bondego blocked a Warren Washington dunk from behind, like climbed over this man's back and like elbowed the ball out of his arms. Cincinnati recovers that, gets back up court. Bondego has the ball. Warren Washington gets in front of him, clean block, nothing but ball. He's counted for the foul. I was like, what game are these referees watching? That was backwards. Like Bondego fouled Washington, then Washington got a clean block, and then he was called for the foul. It made no sense. And then there was not officiating related at all. Pop Isaacs had 3 turnovers on consecutive possessions.
Oof.
Where he just threw the ball into the stands. Like, what you doing, man?
That's been happening lately, and not just him either. Toussaint did that last game.
It was the guard play the past few games, and we'll say what, but Isaacs had 22 points on 5 of 19 of shooting. Like, he put up 20 shots.
And 9 of those points came from the free throw line,
which is great. Like, you love, like, if your shot isn't falling, that you're at least getting to the free throw line. And he was 9 of 12 from the free throw line, and those 3 misses came early, right? So like he went 1 for 2 to start the game, and then he got fouled on 3 and only went 1 of 3 there. So his 3 came early. I remember this. I was in the car when it happened. And then he didn't miss the rest of the night. And then you only missed one other free throw the rest of the night. I mean, you went 19 of 24. Sorry, your starters only missed one more. It was Warren Washington. He went 3 for 4 from the line. 19-24 from the line tonight, which is great. Like you need that kind of efficiency, almost 80%. Cincinnati only took 10 free throws, but they hit all 10 of them. But you were playing down Lamar Washington. I don't know how much that would have affected things because he hasn't been playing huge minutes, but it did affect your rotation, right? Like you weren't able to roll him in there as you would have normally used him. I'm getting off track. We were talking about guard play. So what Toussaint had, was it 8 turnovers last game?
Yeah. And he didn't have any tonight though.
Yeah, he fouled out with 2 points.
Right.
And on 3 shots. He took 3 shots in 26 minutes.
I will say yes, but that one bucket he had was huge, is crucial. Of course, and then he fouled. His foul was also crucial too. The blocking foul, I think, was the next possession.
Yeah, like he hit his free throw, or not free throw. He hit that shot, the field goal.
Yeah, fantastic reverse layup. Landed on the ground. It was really a heck of a play, and in crunch time, that was a crunch time layup.
Yeah, and then on the possession, back up the court, he fouls out.
Speaking of layups,
he gets his 5th foul. Excuse me. He had obviously 4 other ones, but
real quick though, layups 9 of 23 tonight. The Red Raiders. Brutal.
So many misses.
Something bunnies.
Something bunnies. How about we just dunk those?
We can't. We're not. We don't have enough guards that are. It felt like dunk in traffic.
Man, it felt like Cincinnati, like everybody was like 6'8" or above. And I don't know, man. It's one of those things where like it's great when it works, but like it's brutal when it doesn't. Grant McCaslin, like we were sold on Grant McCaslin, and just what he's been able to do at North Texas, just a defensive minded coach. But you were dead last in the Big 12 in defense, which is just a stark turnaround from years where you've been first in the country in defense. On the flip side, you've been terrible on offense, and you're leading the conference and a lot of things offensively. But I think what we've seen historically, and obviously it played out tonight, and it's not like it's like a confirmation bias here, but like defense, a stronger defense usually wins games more so than a strong offense. We've been wanting a better offense to pair with the good defense, but what we're getting is a good offense in place of defense.
Yeah, even Pop Isaacs after that timeout, I'm not sure what play McCaslin called, but I don't think it was for Isaacs to shoot a almost double team contested NBA 3, but he made it. So, I mean, that's fantastic. But then on the other side of the court, a bad switch led to Lukosius having just a beautiful teardrop dagger, basically, to end the game. At that point, you didn't know for sure if that ended the game, but it did. And that just goes back to what you were saying. The defense, I'm hesitant to call out. It's whatever. It was Isaacs and McMillan. They kind of had some miscommunication on a switch, and so McMillan was late getting to his guy, and he kind of slipped. And then Lukosius just has pretty much a wide open 7-footer in the middle of the lane, and just nails it.
Yeah, he's uncontested.
Yeah, I mean, McMillan was completely out of position, but it's just that's not what you can. That's not going to win you any games if you're not able to close out after making a big 3 and holding the other team to at most an attempt and then getting the rebound back. But no, he got a wide open look at the basket 7 feet away, and of course he's a D1 athlete, and a lot of those guys are going to make that shot, and he sure did.
Yeah. Speaking of rebounds, not surprising you were out rebounded, but it felt a lot worse than what the actual numbers say at the end of the game. You were -4 in rebounds,
Yeah.
39 to 35. And it just felt like they were just doing everything. Like they were just able to corral everything.
Well, Washington was. I mean, he had a huge rebound off of I think a Pop Isaac's missed shot and a dunk. And I mean, Washington played a good last few minutes. He had that. He was kind of spinning on that one pivot foot that he somehow didn't lift up at the top of the key and hit McMillan on a backdoor pass. I mean, he was doing a little bit of everything. But yeah, I just there were some bright spots at the end of the game, but when
For sure.
you're leaning on Robert Jennings to come off the bench and go 7 of 10 and have 14 points, when you're leaning on him to keep you in the game, that's probably not the best recipe.
Yeah. Which is easy to say when you lose a game. You
Yeah,
lose by
always.
3 at the final score, but really it was a 1-point loss. In the same vein that you beat Oklahoma up by 4, even though the final score said you beat them by 1. Because that last possession when you had Pop Isaac's running floater, just miss.
Which I didn't hate the shot. The only thing that, but man, I'm walking
I
all
hate
over
the miss.
myself here. I hate the miss. The only thing that makes me hesitate is just he had not, he'd made 5 shots up to that point, and he had only made 4 shots until he drained that 3. So the fact that he shot that instead of Walton, or I think McMillan was on the edge, that both looking for the ball. I like the competitiveness, the tenacity, but I think he shoot what 5 of the last 7 possessions, maybe.
I know
And
he finished the second half 2 of 12, so he was 2 of 11 going into that final possession, and that's not a number I want to put the ball in his hands.
right, but he's also someone who, do you take the ball out of his hands? It's just kind of that double edged. You've seen what he can do.
Granted, so we have the benefit of
Toussaint's
hindsight
fouled
here.
out. What else? What are the other options?
Well, the other option is you use and again this is from the benefit of having hindsight. You
Oh, yeah.
use Isaac as a decoy because they know, like, everybody knows, like, he's the shooter on the team, right? Like, and he's the yeah, I don't know a good way to say it. He's the big personality on the team. So maybe you give the impression that you're going to force it to Isaacs and let help defense crash and then find somebody. The problem is Cincinnati was doing such a good job on committing an extra hand to defense, but also somehow staying in the passing lane. They stole so many, intercepted so many passes when it looked like they were overcommitting to stop a drive, and yet you're like, okay, here comes the help defense. Let's pass out of it, but you threw right into their hands. So like I talking about both on my mouth here. Like I understand, like you may have looked for that, but you've been burned on it so much in this game that, like, you just take your you take your shot with Isaacs there. Had he made it, I mean, we wouldn't be complaining about it, right? You would have won this game,
Oh, of course,
74-73, and you're like, man, what a dagger from a guy
gutsy
who had
performance,
been struggling the second half.
Yes,
He finishes 3 of 12. You're like, man, what a gutsy call to put the ball in his hands with 10 seconds to go.
You trust your playmakers. That's what you do. That's
what
why
we
you
would've
get paid the
said.
big bucks. Yeah.
But instead we're like, why did we put the ball in the hands of a guy that was 2 of 11? So,
but he was great from the line, like you pointed out. I mean, he single-handedly kind of kept Tech in it in the last 6 minutes with his free throws. And
if you were so good from the line, like, why did you settle up and pull up for a running shot? Just force the issue. See if you'll get a call.
Yeah,
I don't know. These are just shell field goal misses. Here we go. No, so you were talking about the Isaac's possession here at the end of the game. From 2 minutes on, it was Isaacs, Toussaint with a layup, McMillan free throws, Isaacs 3-pointer, 2-point misser, or a 2-point jump miss, and a 3-point miss, which was the last heave at the end.
Oh yeah, which was actually really close. He drew iron. That's crazy.
Before that, though, if you want to go back a little bit, between 6 minutes and 3:30, it was nothing but Isaacs.
There's a lot of Isaacs there. Yeah.
Now, granted, 7 of those were free throws.
But
he had 2, 2, and 2. He had 6 in a row. Then he had a jumper good and then a free throw good to get the 3-point play. Missed a 3, and then it was Williams, Isaacs, Washington, Isaacs, Toussaint, McMillan, Isaacs.
I think we've also answered why Toussaint shot 3 times this game.
Yeah, well, it was Isaac's show.
Yeah.
And Toussaint playing, 26 minutes?
Yeah, he didn't play as much tonight. That's true.
Foul trouble, I guess. Yeah, so your guard play, I mean, you got to take better care of the ball from your guards. They combined past 2 games, what was it, like we said, 13 turnovers from your guards alone, or from Isaacs and Toussaint. Toussaint didn't have any turnovers tonight, but he was essentially non-existent from your point guard, essentially.
Offensively, at least.
Yeah. Well, he gave you 2 rebounds, 4 assists,
he might
2
have,
steals.
He might have been playing some good defense. I wasn't able to tune in on every defensive possession.
Yeah. You mentioned it kind of briefly. Robert Jennings had his career night, 7 of 10 from the floor. Missed his only free throw attempt, so he ends the night with 14 points. Said career high on 16 minutes. Yalahu ended up with 2 minutes. I think that was, you were trying to give Warren Washington a breather because he was trying to go toe to toe with Cincinnati's big men, and he was gassed. So he needed a blow. Demarion Williams, 3 minutes, no points, no shots. Darian Williams, 37 minutes. So he played almost the entire game, most of any minutes. Took 5 shots, 7 points. Hit all 3 of his free throws, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, but 3 turnovers. He had the highest plus minus of any Red Raiders, of +4, which was pitiful.
Well, and Texas Tech they weren't really able to capitalize on what turnovers they did get. 3 fast break points.
Only 10 points off turnovers.
Yeah, it was just such a neck and neck game. I was looking through here. I felt like it was close the whole time, and it was. The lead changed 14 times. The largest run for both teams was 9-0, so it wasn't like someone rattled off a 20-0 run like we've had to endure lately. And to have the offense just on paper, they shot pretty well, 41% from the field, 33% from 3. That's about what you can hope for on a normal night. But that second half was just rough. Just nothing came from the field. 35 points, 12 of them were from the line. I mean, a third of Texas Tech's points in the second half were from free throws.
Yeah, you were 11 of 32 from the field in the second half, so 34%. 1 of 8 from 3.
Oof.
And 12 of 13 from the line.
Yeah, 4. Cincinnati was perfect.
Only 4 turnovers in the second half, which was it was rough at the beginning of the game. You're like, man, it was the under 12 or whatever it was. Like each team has 7 turnovers. And I remember listening to it, and Chris Level said that's rough because you had a game not that long ago where Texas Tech in 40 minutes had 4 turnovers, and now like 4 minutes in, you've got 7.
Just some sloppy start.
Yeah, I was say because to finish it with only 11 on the game, when you had 7 within I probably the first 10 minutes.
As sloppy as a white T-shirt trying to eat a bowl of Skyline chili. That's sure. Not even is that a thing?
No, I don't know. So I don't. It's you got burned in the glass, or it certainly felt that way.
Yeah, it's not as bad. I'm with you though. It's not as bad statistically because I think the first half it was 16-16 on rebounds, and the second half they you know got 4 ahead. And of course, when a game that close, those matter. I'm not saying they don't matter, but it felt worse than it actually was.
Let's see, half comparison. They had 23 in the second half to your 19. So that's
Right.
where they got the 4. Yeah. Obviously, if they had a 4 rebound advantage and you were tied at the half. Yeah.
Well, at least there's it's not like Baylor's coming to town or you're going to Waco or anything next.
You're right. Baylor is not coming to town.
That's
you're
playing Waco.
You're playing Waco.
The Waco Bears.
What we said on the podcast on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I call them.
Did they play today? I'm sure they did.
I don't know if they did or not. Let me see. Man, I had all that pulled up, and then
Let's do a quick look around the Big 12 today. So I know they are in the second half right now with Iowa State, but they are up 9 at home versus Iowa State.
Yeah. So the Big 12, which I learned on Twitter today, is really overrated and is not very good. Or not today, but what was it, Thursday, when that guy tweeted that, whoever that was?
Was it Chris Wash?
Yeah.
Walsh, whatever his name is.
Mr. Warsh. So yeah, like you said, you've already updated us on Baylor hosting Iowa State. Oklahoma State fended off Kansas State. Oklahoma
Somehow,
State,
some way.
yeah, they get their second, I think, Big 12 win of the season today, 75-72 in Stillwater. TCU, I was ready to switch over to that game because I watched the end of the K-State Oklahoma State game. And Texas and TCU were like 64-66 with 3 minutes left when I started. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened the last 3 minutes, but Texas ran off with it and ended up winning 77-66 in Fort Worth. Oklahoma lost on the road, though, but lost to UCF 63-74.
Yeah.
Houston got ran out of the gym in Lawrence. They officially got welcomed to the Big 12, having made their first trip to the Fog.
They were down 15 at the half.
Oh, yeah. And they were down 17-18, I think, before that. So it was over pretty quickly. And they ended up losing 78-65. And BYU went up to Morgantown, took care of business 86-73. But, there's a lot of game left in the Baylor-Iowa State game, but Baylor is up by 10 now with 15:52 left. So a decent chance that Tech will be playing a top 15 Baylor team.
Oh, yeah, easy.
If they hold on to beat Iowa State.
And with your 0-2 week, you may be out of the rankings.
Yep. Texas Tech and TCU are
played like
back out.
Garbage tonight. Yeah. Tuesday you'll be in Waco. Depending on how the games shake out, you will most likely be in a 3-way tie for, I guess technically third, because Houston and Kansas are tied for first at 6-3. Then if Baylor holds on, they'll be 5-3. Iowa State will fall to 5-3. You're at 5-3. The three of y'all, us, Baylor, Iowa State, Texas Tech, will be at 5-3. And then you got a bunch of 4-4, 5-4. Be TCU, they'll be behind you.
Yeah, so in the standings right now, Texas Tech is in 4th place. Iowa State is first because they're 5-2, whereas Houston and Kansas are both 6-3. So they're in second and third. I'm sure Kansas would be actually in second, having beaten Houston, and then Texas Tech is 4th at 5-3.
Yeah. I hate this part of basketball, Michael, where you look at the schedule and you're like you needed this win at home to break up what could be a bad little streak here in the middle of the season. On the road at TCU, on the road at Baylor. If it plays out where you lose your away games here, you could have a quick little 0-3 jaunt right here.
And then hosting a UCF team that can't be dismissed either. I mean, every
fire,
single
dude.
team in this league can beat anybody any night. Ask Oklahoma.
Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it for us tonight on the 23 Personnel Podcast. Texas Tech falls 75-72. Fire everyone. No, not quite yet. You lose a stupid one. You should have won this one. You got beat on the glass. You got out physical. Toughest team did win tonight. It just wasn't you. We'll be back on Tuesday to do the preview and instant reaction for Baylor. Preview for UCF. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll get you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.